What's up, everybody? Welcome to the View from Jamestown podcast edition. This is episode 45. This is the October 2020 episode. I'm sitting down this morning with TCC President Rob Roach, VP of Sales and Marketing AJ Petrarca, and Latin American Operations Manager Javier Fernandez. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ben.
Feeling more and more normal doing these in person. Feels nice to...
Does, man.
Yeah, this is the third one in person.
Second one in person, but we've got everybody back at the office now, which also feels a little bit normal.
Yep.
And so far, so good.
We used that high-tech temperature thing for the first time this morning coming over here. It's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah. When you enter the building, you got to scan your forehead and make sure you're not out of temp. So we've got a lot of protocols in place. We got to fill out an app in the morning when we wake up. There's already a reminder. You got to fill this out before you come in. And so there's a lot of reminders to pay attention to your health. And if you're not feeling perfect, stay at home. I think that's the best thing you can do. Because, I mean, the real thing about the coronavirus is it spreads like wildfire. So if somebody comes in this office with it, literally we're set up, the way we set up is to protect everyone if somebody does show up with it.
Yep.
That's why we have the barriers and the temperatures and blah, 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 is I guess we expect at some point somebody's going to bring coronavirus into this office building or the office buildings here at TCC, and we want everybody to be protected as much as possible. So it took a while to get back. We were out for 6 months, March till September, working from home, which was effective, but it certainly is nice to see all your faces behind those masks.
Yeah, it feels good to be back. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, even just trying to open, I think we had to push it back like 2 or 3 months just because we had to get those temperature scanners in, get sanitizing supplies in. There was a bunch of,
The barriers.
roadblocks, the barriers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really the concern isn't for everybody sitting at this table. It's for my father who's 76 years old and he's got a lot of pre-existing conditions and things like that. I mean,
Yep.
I saw a meme the other day that really summed it up. It was that, if the roles were reversed and coronavirus really affected the young people, our parents and grandparents would do everything they could to protect us. And yet, I go into the deli or the supermarket and, these young kids have their masks under their chin. You put a mask on to show respect. It's a level of respect. And so, you can't expect 18-year-old kids to be responsible, but that's really what we're doing this exercise for, is to protect the people we respect and love in our lives.
Yep. Yeah, definitely nice to be back. I know me and AJ have been back for a little while, but nice to have everyone back in the same building, and even just passing people in the hallway or outside. Nice change of pace.
Yeah, it's been nice to have you guys back, and now everybody back. Javi came in there at the end before everybody came in. I mean, we're a sales and marketing organization. We need our sales and marketing people. Our customer service folks worked flawlessly. Actually, they did a lot of excessive training, and while there was some downtime, May especially, June, things were slow. They really jumped into training. We did a lot of work on our IT infrastructure. We took this time and we took advantage of it. And I think that was probably key for us. We're going to come out of this a better company. No matter what, after whenever this is over, we're going to come out of this a better company, because we've been working to not just be what we were before. And I think you've been a big part of that, Ben, and all of you have been a big part of that. And we're going to continue to be a better company and keep growing.
We've almost got a whole second wave of people coming back now, with people coming off maternity and paternity leave. We got Angela coming back soon. Yeah. Josh Savory just came back last week. So it's almost like a whole new group of people coming back from these.
Yeah, we've got COVID babies being
baby
born. It's a baby year. We got people buying houses at the height of the market, Ben.
Yep.
There's been a lot of very positive things. Josh Savory just had a baby recently. He just came back. Of course, Angela and Javi, Michaela. I'm probably missing some babies there, but we're very lucky to be growing the TCC family.
Absolutely. But yeah, nice to have everybody back, and obviously jumping in right to kind of this sort of crazy couple weeks and months with the election coming up. Where as we sit today, it's about 6-7 weeks out, but I think this whole next few weeks and months will definitely have a lot of ups and downs, regardless of your political views. The election season is always a kind of rocky couple months with the change coming potentially. So should be interesting to see how that all shakes out here over the next few weeks and into 2021.
Yeah, we've seen choppy lately. We've seen choppy on crude oil. We've seen choppy on the stock market. We've seen choppy on raw material prices. The fact is that, just like you said, regardless of where you come from on the political spectrum, this has an impact on our business. I think you said earlier, Ben, we're no longer in an election year. We're in election month. It's coming. It's right around the corner. And, people are polarized and probably should be because there's a lot going on. And we'll see how it goes. But in terms of how this impacts our business, it certainly does because people are not confident right now. They're not placing orders. They're not building inventory because they don't know which way it's going to go. And unfortunately, inventories across the board are at all-time lows. So what we're seeing right now is we're not seeing any major changes in raw material costs. Crude oil, Brent, WTI is pretty flat, but you can't get stuff. Yep. And that's driving pricing. That's driving availability of, finished goods. The inventories were already low coming into this. So it was very interesting. Yesterday we had I feel like I'm dominating today, but
it's okay.
We had our quarterly sales, our virtual sales meeting, and we had one of our major suppliers make a presentation. And the thing that caught my eye was automotive. And I don't know if you picked up on that, Ben, but automotive started really declining in 2017. They're saying we've been in a recession since 2017. I mean, you certainly wouldn't see it with the stock market going from $20,000 to $30,000. And by the way, this company is a very big company and a very big supporter of the current administration. And for them to tell us that we've been moving in a recession path since 2017 is very interesting. You could see it right on the graph. It wasn't fake news. Their supply of what they were selling was dropping considerably well before coronavirus. So, and I think that was sort of, we did have a strong, 8 or 10 years prior to that, and then things kind of, people were starting to lose confidence or whatever, but it was very interesting to see that, and we've kind of felt it. We've seen it in our business. Things haven't been sort of moving up year over year. They were flat to moving down slightly. Yep. But to see it on a graph and to really dig into that yesterday was very interesting.
Yeah, obviously the automotive sector plays a big role with us in the chemical industry, with the broader economy. So it's definitely a good indicator of what's actually kind of going on.
Yeah, I mean, it was telling, no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And election season aside, I think it's obviously hurricane season, and it's certainly been one heck of a hurricane season. I know we've seen a lot of activity so far in the Gulf. We've already ran out of named hurricane storms for this year, which is blows my mind. I mean, that was, I think, a couple weeks ago we ran out of names. I guess in my mind, this is hurricane season. How do we run out of names already by September?
We're in the Greek alphabet.
Yeah.
It's been good for surfing.
Yeah. It's only the second or third time I think that's happened in recent times. It's crazy. But obviously, bad weather aside, that's impacted some plants in the Gulf, logistics in the Gulf. We've definitely seen some fallout from that. Maybe not as bad as some expected, but there are definitely still some outages and logistics challenges kind of down in that area.
Yeah, it's still continuing. We haven't felt the full brunt of it yet, because 30 inches or 3 feet of rain or whatever they got recently, and from Mobile over to Florida. Prior to that, it just gutted the Texas-Louisiana border. Yep. Had a lot of flooding along the Texas coast. So, we're definitely seeing it in things like PVC has definitely been severely affected. Starting to see it, in some plasticizers, obviously, and with the Exxon plant being down there. I don't think we've seen the worst of it yet.
Yeah,
so
a lot of chemical clusters are in that area.
Yeah, a tremendous amount, and it takes a while. The communication from these really big companies isn't always robust, so yep. You don't really hear about it until it's starting to affect you. So. But we've been saying the shortages are coming and they're here. On a lot of the products. AJ, what was your quote this week? You said this is
This is the week. I'm just getting calls from everybody. I don't remember what the quote was, but I'm just getting a lot of calls from people asking us for things that we typically wouldn't supply. That the end user's current supplier just doesn't have inventory of. So a lot of folks are just running on bare bones, next to no inventory, and as demand's starting to pop, people are getting in a pinch. So that's a long-winded version of
Yeah,
the quote that I had the other day.
your quote was more condensed, but that was precise enough. But I think it was something along the lines of, "This is the week of people wanting stuff we don't have," something along those lines. So, yeah, it's been interesting,
And not as a subtle bag for TCC, but it's something we're obviously really good at. We have good purchasing and procurement capabilities and supply chain capabilities. That's where some of our biggest current product lines have come from. People needing something goes short on supply. We contact our different procurement, offices and are able to find supply and secure it, pretty quickly in some cases.
Usually, the best way to start in an account, like what are you having trouble with at the moment?
Yep.
That's the best start a relationship in new accounts.
Yep.
Yeah, no doubt. We got some amazing contacts worldwide, and they've been able to help us and our customers throughout the decades we've been in existence. So, and I think that today, our contacts, with your contacts in Latin America, the Middle East, our people in Asia and other China and other Asia, Europe has always been a huge hub for us, and domestically is the biggest, of course. So, we've got the world covered.
Yeah. And I think it's a good transition, too, into kind of what's going on the logistics front of things. It's obviously the storms and the weather have played a role in the logistics in and around the Gulf area, whether it's rail coming in and out of the Gulf. Obviously, they kind of cleared out the rail yards for those storms coming in, and they've had to do it 2 or 3 times now. And, obviously further delays on the rail lines with cars not able to move back and forth, trucks not want to go in and out of there. So it's been a unique kind of couple weeks and months with this crazy storm season.
Yeah, I think, one of the biggest impacts is the flooding has on rail cars. Once you flood above the bearings and the wheels on a rail car, they need inspection. And these large chemical producers have thousands of them, and it takes time for that inspection. So then they'll fall back on trucking. Obviously, you're shipping a truck, you're shipping a quarter of the volume that you can get in a rail car. And then, of course, coronavirus and COVID is having an effect on the trucking industry big time. These guys or girls, that are in the trucking industry, they're afraid to travel to certain regions of the country where coronavirus is, let's say, blossoming. So our logistics group has been very busy. They've saved us with tremendous contacts and availability that they've brought forward. But yeah, again, this is not a short-term problem as long as COVID is out there, and there could be another stimulus package that pays more to not work. That affected us over, the spring and the summer. So, yeah, logistics is another, and I think AJ and Hav know more about this than I do, but the cost of shipping ocean freight.
Ocean freight is like 2x, 3x for dry.
2x or 3x?
Yeah.
Wow.
For dry, and for ISO tanks almost 2x. I got a freight rate 2 weeks ago was 4,000 for an ISO tank, and it was 7,000 yesterday.
And the thing is that our customers don't want to absorb that. They, they don't want to believe that the cost is there. We take it on the chin. It hurts us, but the fact is that the costs have escalated, and we try and pass it on, but it's sort of like the fuel surcharge back in the day. People didn't believe it would stick around. Well, it's still here to this day. So,
and the thing is, from Asia, the lines are getting fewer lines are coming into the U.S. to Latin America. So the demand is still the same, but there's not enough supply. So it's driving up the prices every week. We're getting price increases just based on freight.
wow.
Every week, it's insane.
Yeah. So, a $3,000 increase would be, 8 cents a pound, or, that's a tremendous amount. It's $160 a ton. That's a big difference. That's a significant amount of.
Yeah, depending what the cost of whatever that product actually was. It could be, you could be some exponent of what the actual product stuff is, just based on freight.
Yeah.
And in addition to the cost, vessel spaces are filling up. So what, a month ago was a 6 to 8 week lead time. Today maybe a 10 to 12 week lead time. So people aren't, budgeting for that at the moment. And
That's a great point. Yeah, and we're coming into the
should
Christmas season.
Yeah.
Got to have a lot of toys and things coming over.
Yep.
So space will be limited. So yeah, I think that's the biggest hurdle that we're up against in our industry right now, is that just supply and demand imbalance.
Yep.
And we don't see that correcting itself before the year end. That's going to be a long-term problem.
Yeah, I know you, AJ, get a lot of pricing from our office out in China. And it seems like every single email is, here's the price. It's really expensive because of ocean freight.
Yeah, so
every single one.
when just a couple months ago I was getting bi-weekly price updates. Now it's every couple days, like, hey, what's the status?
Yeah.
Where are we at? Just because everything's been moving so quickly lately, but moving upward quickly.
And like you said, it's expensive, and that's even assuming you can get a spot.
Yep.
The customer can work with the lead time and things like that.
Yep.
So, yeah, definitely been a interesting few months on the logistics front, and I think something's going to continue well into next year for sure. So something to be mindful and making, obviously I think we do the best we can to put that info out and make sure customers and people are aware, it is what it is, lead times are what they are, and just hopefully can plan around it, increase inventories and
Yeah, we're in the trenches here. Everybody sitting at this table here, we're in the trenches. We see it probably more quickly than most. So, it's a fact. It's happening.
Yep. I don't know, Javi, you mentioned briefly Latin America, but you want to give an update on what's happening down in the region?
Yeah, the region for Q4, the things are not looking good overall. Things are looking to contract. The economy is looking to contract 4%.
What was your quote yesterday on the conference call?
Things are bad.
Things are bad?
Things are bad.
That was the...
Things are really bad.
That was the
Things are
intro.
really bad. That's how I started my presentation. Things are really bad, actually. And yeah, COVID cases still on the rise. Brazil is the number one. Brazil represents 25% of the COVID cases in the world.
Worldwide?
Worldwide.
There are a quarter of the cases worldwide.
It's Brazil.
Wow.
For-
What are we?
I don't know the fact. I don't know.
sheesh.
Is it top 5? I would assume so.
Wow, I didn't realize that COVID was that.
That bad in Brazil, yeah. Then it's followed by Peru, and then there's high debts in the governments because a lot of it's going to healthcare. But the system is broken. They cannot. It's not enough. They don't have enough beds. They don't have enough ventilators. The public system is not there. We don't have the infrastructure. So it's a sad thing. And unemployment, it's high. Unemployment in Chile, Brazil, Argentina, it's double digits, 15, pushing 20%. So it's really high. And that also brings exchange rate pressures. So there's a lot of stuff going on in Latin America. But still, people are looking in Latin America for investment, for reshoring, walk away, be off of the China train, and just having stuff closer to the U.S., closer to Europe. But we don't have the infrastructure again. We don't have the roads, the rails. So there has to be a lot of investment from the private sector and the governments to do that.
Yeah.
But it has been successful in automotive in Mexico. I mean, we have a lot of plants in Mexico for automotive, and it has been great in the textile industry in Central America. You have a lot of plants for textile in Central America, and it has been great. So they're trying to mimic that in South America. So hopefully things look on the up, but things so far are not very good on the region.
And they're going into their summer now. So, you could say people would spend more time outside, but most of the region is, pretty much outside friendly year round.
Yeah.
Well, that's too bad, Hav.
Yeah.
And I think you said too, like on the business front, you're seeing competition from regions that you may not have in the past.
That
maybe more
you
from
never
China,
see
more
before.
from-
Yeah, it has becoming a dumping ground. So you see stuff coming in from Turkey, coming in that you never see the Turkish before.
Yep.
You never see stuff from Russia before. It was mainly China, U.S., Europe, them three, and U.S. And it was a fair competition. Now it's not.
Yep.
So it's been tougher and tougher.
Yeah, once you get one competitive situation figured out, it's like whiplash. You got someone else coming in from a different area.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully things continue to get better and improve over the next couple of months and see positive trends potentially.
Well, they said that the coronavirus will have the greatest impact on those countries with, the worst economic situation, and that's sort of proving true, which is a shame. And, you know, you see in, Brazil, India, parts of Africa now where it's really starting to pick up. So hope things do get better and we get this a vaccine, effective vaccine very quickly.
Yeah.
Safe and effective.
Absolutely. Price updates and trends coming into October. I guess we're actually in Q4 now. Seems like stuff's been relatively flat. But again, as we kind of have been talking about between the logistics side of things and then the supply and demand fundamentals with production being a little bit slower due to whatever the case might be, definitely more supply and demand fundamentals versus just based on what raw materials are looking at.
Yeah, I mean, oil's been range bound in the, say, 38 to 42. Propylene is starting to flatten out. Ethylene's starting to flatten out a little bit. Benzene's been pretty flat. As we mentioned before, the price of natural gas, surprisingly, has been moving up a considerable amount, but recently took a downturn. And the stock market's been really choppy, which makes me nervous. We've seen last week a 10%, we lost about 10% the overall market this week. It sort of rebounded a little bit, and today we're zeroed out, to negative and positive depending on what time you look at it. So, for me, I think we've hit a corner on things like travel. I bought some stock in Norwegian Cruise Lines recently. I think that
Does that make you cruise people now too?
No,
not just me.
I'm not necessarily going to ever be a cruise person, but I think that I think that we desire. I think it's one of the things that we're all very sad that we've lost is the ability to travel, and I think as soon as people can, without significant risk. Of course, there's people that have been taking risks, I guess, and I feel, plane travel. I know a lot of people who have been traveling right through the pandemic and done just fine, but. I think that there's that concern that you pick it up and you bring it to a parent or a grandparent or something like that. As soon as that is relieved, and I think we've turned that corner, I think that people will be back at it and very quickly. Because I know I wasn't a lover of traveling because I've traveled most of my career a lot. Yeah. But when you take something away, you miss it. Yeah. So
feels like our wings are clipped.
Insert song here. And I think you probably would say the same thing coming out of things like China and Asia. It's really more supply and demand and logistics driven than basically raw material pricing stuff coming out of China at this point.
Yeah, it's very quiet on the raw material front across the board pretty much. Like you said, natural gas is up a little bit, which is driving some formula pricing up. But other than that, it's just supply and demand driven, and there's just not enough supply, and demand's starting to pop a little bit.
Yep. Featured products, new products, things to talk about specifically on the product front for this month. We are coming into, as crazy and sad as it sounds, the winter season, I guess. So obviously that sparks a bunch of seasonal demand and products for us at TCC, especially up here in the Northeast.
Yeah, windshield washer fluid, antifreeze, ice melt.
Yep.
Glycols, methanol, all the good stuff.
Yep. And then, of course, there's been sort of an uptick in COVID cases at the colleges and schools in session and things like that. So our sanitizer products, they'll start probably picking back up a little bit too. And we got some alcohol, a new availability of isotridecyl alcohol, a Vonic product, and that goes into ethoxylates, surfactants.
Yeah, the main use is to make ethoxylates for surfactants. So the demand on that's been pretty good with everything. Obviously there's a need for surfactants and cleaning products and things like that. So IDTA is an interesting one, and should be a growing one for us.
And I think between those sanitizing products and things like ITDA, it's not just going to drop off once COVID goes away. I think these sanitizer products and things like in office spaces can be much more of a concern on people's health, and even something like flu season. I think it's going to, these sanitizer product demand's going to definitely stay high, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Even just, on a small scale, like my kids just went back to school a couple weeks ago, and they were all scrambling trying to get hand sanitizer for the whole school.
Yeah.
Even, just with people starting to go back to offices and schools, I think that's gonna drive demand for a lot of those products, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I think whether it's the seasonal products, the methanols, the ice melt products, or if it's the sanitizing products coming in here into the wintertime, as things like schools and businesses open back up, obviously TCC offers a pretty wide portfolio of all those products. So we're happy to, either reach out to your sales contact or any one of us. We're happy to talk to you about that as that demand here picks up pretty quick.
Absolutely.
Events, shows, and conferences are a shorter section of the entire podcast.
Delete that section.
Yeah, we might as well.
Well, we have, we're on standby, I guess, is really what it is. We certainly want to go back to normal, and conferences and trade shows are.
No, we have EPCA.
No, we don't.
We have meetings.
EPCA Zoom.
We have virtual meetings, but we
virtual
won't be in
meeting.
Budapest
Yeah.
this year, unfortunately. But
Do you guys have a lot of meetings that were EPCA that are, I know we have
not
one
a lot.
scheduled.
Not
a
compared
lot.
to what a normal schedule would be relatively full for 3-4 days. But now,
Yeah.
we've got a few. People
Yeah.
are really trying to make it happen, but it's. But yeah, we really look forward to getting back to trade shows and events and seeing our friends in the industry. Hi, everybody out there, and we look forward to seeing you in person. And I really feel like AJ said, our wings are clipped a little bit here. We're doing our best, but we can't promote new chemistry. We can't promote new opportunity. We can't promote our services and our products as well.
Yep.
As what we can when we have a healthy environment to have these trade shows and things. So we look forward to getting back to it.
And it goes beyond business. I mean, we do our AFPM cocktail party. You look around the room, and it looks more like just people hanging out with friends.
Exactly.
Than,
It's just a great time to visit with friends and catch up. And, it's been a shame in the last 6 months. We've had a lot of people retire.
Yep.
We haven't been able to really give them the proper send-off. We've got people that have come into the industry. We haven't been able to meet them and get to know them well. So our wings are clipped.
Insert song here. But I mean, on the opposite side of that too, we were able to do our quarterly sales meeting. Kind of a new thing for TCC internally. This, I guess, yesterday.
Yeah, we usually do an annual or semi-annual in person, but
Yep.
yeah, the virtual sales meetings have been great. We can get to do them more often. You get input from people around the world. It's quite cool.
Yeah, I mean, something I think we wouldn't have started doing if it wasn't for, COVID. So maybe a small bright spot, being able to connect with our sales team and some suppliers that are obviously based external to our offices here and see everybody. So it's
It's good technical talk yesterday. I was impressed with the questions from the team, and everybody was engaged and involved, and it was fantastic. You did a good job on that, Benny.
Thank you. Long day sitting in front of a computer, but I think at the end of it, it was a good.
Better than 2 long days sitting in front of the computer like we did last time.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I heard at one point in a breaks, I was on camera in the background doing jumping jacks behind Javier. I don't know if anybody caught that, but Nicole did.
We'll have to get the gym and do some exercises in between, like an exercise session, stretch, do a little yoga.
Yeah,
Gym's still closed, Ben.
I don't know if jumping jacks are an approved activity during COVID.
There's some heavy breathing. There's some heavy aerosols going into the air during that.
But that kind of wraps things up for October. I mean, definitely a focus on logistics, supply and demand fundamentals here for the next couple of weeks, pretty much across all products. There'll definitely be a uptick in demand for some of these seasonal products. So I would definitely recommend, double checking your supply chain, looking at your anticipated demand, bringing in raw materials as soon as possible if you can, and keep inventories a little bit higher. But other than that, looking forward to see what happens in the next couple of weeks, and will be peak election season come November podcast. So we'll see what the world looks like at that point.
Yeah, maybe we should have the podcast after the election, but who knows when the election's going to be over.
We could do a pre-election and a post-election because it could be 2 very different worlds.
Yeah.
Pre and post.
We may have to wait till 2021 for the
I know, for the results.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But as always, thank you guys for sitting down this morning, and thank you everyone for listening, whether you're on the audio format, the video format. We got some exciting things coming up here in the next couple weeks and months on our website, on our new podcast portal. Way to keep all of our multimedia stuff here all in one spot. So looking forward to putting that out. We appreciate everyone listening. That's been following along here regularly, I guess for the past 45 episodes, which is crazy to say.
Wow, that's crazy.
But if you're a newer listener, welcome. Thank you for listening, and hopefully we will continue to see you guys streaming for the next couple episodes. So we appreciate it, and we'll see you guys later.
Thank you. See you soon.